Hi guys, this is Mimi Dua Titan of the Lily's Bakery. Join me as I decorate this 2-layered 10-inch cake, red velvet and vanilla. So here you could see me unwrapping the cake from the cling film. Each time that I bake my cakes, after they cool, I just wrap them in the cling film and put them in the freezer until the next day. Then I bring it out and start my decorations. Here I'm trimming the top so it could be leveled enough to sit flat on the board and be set for decorations. Before decorating a cake, you want to put some buttercream on your board to help stick the first layer of your cake to the board, which will serve as the base. This will serve as a glue. Alternatively, you could also use melted chocolate, basically melted chocolate or buttercream. That is what is good enough to be used. So if you have melted chocolate or buttercream at home, it's fine. So here I'm just slightly trimming the back, and then trying to fill areas where the cake doesn't seem leveled enough. And then I'll do a little bit of trimming again to make sure it's leveled enough. And then I'll apply my buttercream and put in a good amount of buttercream layer. The person I'm making for using a sweet tooth, so we're going to keep the buttercream as minimal as possible. Then we'll move on to the second layer. Here I'm unwrapping the cling film once again to bring out the cake, and I would level it if need be. The top is already flat, but I need to level it to make sure it's perfect. And then I've placed it. Here again, I'll trim the bottom. I'll just trim it to get off the back, just so to get a nice and smooth finish. Just carefully trim the cake. At this stage, you want to be careful so you don't trim one side lower than another. And then I'm going on with my crumb coat. I'll just crumb coat the entire cake before I generously start applying the buttercream. As I always say, the crumb coat stage is really very important. So you always make sure to crumb coat. You crumb coat until it's well covered. You keep doing this process until every side and every area of the cake is crumb coated. During the crumb coating, the buttercream doesn't have to be so much. The aim of the crumb coating is to lock in the cake crumbs so it does not show the crumbs on the finished decorated cake. So you just make sure to crumb coat. And here I'm doing a second coat. This is also a really light coat, but it's different from the crumb coat. But I'm doing the second coat because I do not want to directly use a colored buttercream icing on a cake. Once I'm using a colored buttercream, I try to do my first coat with the regular buttercream because some colors have a little bit of bitter taste, so I always try to make sure to properly coat my cake with the regular buttercream as my first layer before I go in with the colored buttercream. This also helps to keep the original buttercream taste. So this is how I always do it. I just go on with the coat lightly before I start applying the colored buttercream. Here you could see me trying to cover the cake, but I'm not being too generous with the buttercream, but I'm just using a good amount of the buttercream over the cake. I'm not trying to make it perfect, but I'm trying to get a good covering. Once I finish the first covering, I'll go on with my colored buttercream. That's me adding more color to it. And then properly mixing so it incorporates. So when you do this, the colored buttercream, you use just very little amount of the colored buttercream, but you can still cover the entire cake because most of your covering was done with the regular buttercream. So you could see I'd use that really small amount to cover the entire cake because the cake is almost already covered in full with the regular buttercream. So with this, I just added in some red food coloring with a little bit of buttercream, and I got this light red color. So you see how very little could go a long way. Once you have covered the main cake with buttercream, very little can go a long way. I always do this with my colored buttercream cakes because I never like the colored buttercream to get directly to my cake. I don't just feel comfortable to getting the colored buttercream directly onto my cake. I'd always prefer to use plain buttercream and then recoat with the colored buttercream. It just makes me feel better. It just makes me feel like I'm serving a healthier option by keeping the colors away from the cake. Even though they're edible colors, I just like to use them really minimal on the cake. So here I'll smoothen it one time because I want to do a textured cake, and then I'll use a silicone brush to go around the cake, as you can see me doing in this video. Just use a silicone brush around the cake just to create that texture. This design is a pretty simple one. We're keeping it simple and nice. So we're done with the sides, and we'll move on to the top. We'll move on to smoothing the top. So we'll do this until every part is being smoothened out and the top of the cake looks leveled and sharp enough. So you'll just be patient with this stage in order to make it perfect. In areas where you would see uneven holes, you place on more buttercream and even it out, as you could see me doing the video. So you do this until you are satisfied with the top. And if it's a cake in which you're not doing so much decorations on the top, you need to get it as perfect as possible. But if it's a cake that it's going to be occupied with decorations on top, then you could leave it almost perfect. Even though it's not perfect, you could leave it almost perfect. So here I'm just cleaning the excesses off my board and being really careful as possible. Here you would want to use a really sharp edge to do this so you do not poke your cake. For this cake, I'll be decorating it with some flowers and doing a little bit of piping on the top. So here I'm going in with my already prepared flowers. Here I'm using a white flower and some red and green flowers. We're just keeping the cake design really simple yet cute. I would carefully place all the flowers where they would sit beautifully, but still be popping. After I'm done placing it, the next thing I'll be doing will be going in with some more red buttercream into my piping bag. And then I'll pipe around the cake. You hold, push, and press. Then I'll pipe around the cake until it goes round. And then I'm done piping. And then the next thing I'll be doing will be writing on the cake. While writing, it is another really patient part. You need to be as patient with this process as possible. While writing, you need to put pressure on the hand that is writing and then support with your left hand so your hand does not shake. That is the secret to having a perfect write-up on the cake, so your hand does not shake. So here I'll be as slow as possible and gentle as possible just to get a good write-up. And this is the area in my cake decorating where I have not perfected yet. But I'll be paying more attention to it as the days go by so that I'll get some perfect writing skills. You know, when it comes to cake decorating, the write-up is a whole different ball game because you need to learn it separately and also be patient with it. So the cake is ready. I hope it looks beautiful. But before we go, I'll be adding some red sprinkles to give it some beauty and to make it pop. So I'll sprinkle a little bit of the sprinkles around the cake. Just something really minimal because I do not want to keep it clustered. I just want to keep it simple and beautiful. Simple and beautiful. So I'm adding a few more red sugar balls And we're done. Thanks for watching.
Hi guys, my name is Nimidoa Titan, head baker at the Lily's Bakery. I have come today to let you all know that we will be having an online holiday baking class where you would learn how to make over 10 cake recipes and also master the act of decorating cakes with the use of whipped cream, buttercream, and fondant. If you're looking to start a career in baking, this is the time to take advantage of the opportunity. If you're looking to improve on your cake recipes in order to get more clients and getting mind-blowing reviews on your cake, why not register for this class and let your experience give you the results? So with just 30,000 naira, you would learn how to make over 10 amazing recipes and also master the act of cake decorating with the whipped cream, fondant, and buttercream. So guys, if you're interested in this, use the account number below to make payment and then see you in class 15th November 2023. Cheers!
So the bonus for this class will be teaching you how to cost and sell your cakes professionally.